Assalamu alaikum and welcome to today's video on the topic of feminine energy. The reason why I wanted to talk about this is because about 3 years ago I went through a type of burnout that I had never experienced before, and I came across these two terms, feminine and masculine energy. And when I started reading about it brought a lot of light on the reasons why I was burning out, and I wanted to talk to you about this in case you might be experiencing some sort of misalignment in your life right now and you're wondering where does that come from and how can I address it. But let's start by explaining what is the feminine energy and what is the masculine energy. We know that in this life everything was created in pair. There's an effect of polarity with everything that we encounter in nature as well as ourselves. Each individual has a side to them that has feminine energy and another side that has masculine energy. Both men and women have a side to them that is feminine and masculine. It's about personality traits and characteristics of yourself that you have and that you balance. When your feminine side is not being nurtured, is not giving space, it leads you to having a wounded feminine. And when the wounded feminine exists, it's gonna feed the wounded masculine. That's why we need to have some sort of balance between these two energies as much as possible so that we are aligned with our fitra, with our true nature. Naturally, women will have more feminine energy. They will just be given more feminine characteristics, and men will have more masculine energy within them. Let's talk about these characteristics. What does the healthy feminine energy look like? A healthy feminine is sensual, confident in her body, it's creative, it's intuitive and connected to her senses. It's very receptive to her emotions and what's going on around her and what's happening in her heart more than what's happening in her mind. So it's emotional rather than rational. It's an energy that flows without restrictions, without overthinking, without too much effort. It's not afraid of speaking up for herself. It's good at setting healthy boundaries. It's authentic. It welcomes vulnerability. It accepts receiving help and asking for help. It is submissive not only to her creator but also to the leaders around her that she needs to submit to. It's gracious and it's strong in her own ways because it brings life into this earth. It's grounded and reflective, and so much more. That's for the feminine energy that is healthy. Now let's talk about the unhealthy feminine energy. These are characteristics that you might see in yourself right now because you are experiencing some sort of misalignment in your life or a feeling of being completely lost. The unhealthy feminine energy is struggling to set boundaries. It's not authentic. It's someone who prioritizes everyone except herself. It struggles to practice self-care. It's stuck in victim mode. It's desperate for attention and love from external sources. It's always chasing validation. It's someone who overshares. It's afraid of being abandoned and tends to be clingy, jealous, possessive because of that. And sometimes it's even manipulative. It's a woman who struggles to understand her emotions and as a result struggles to control them as well. It's someone who doesn't accept herself for who she is. She doesn't accept her body. She doesn't accept what she has, where she is in life, and that leads to her being jealous of other women or envious of what others have. Now that we've covered the traits of the healthy and the unhealthy feminine, you might have recognized yourself in some of these characteristics and you may be thinking, why am I like that? Where does that come from? Especially for the unhealthy traits. In my personal experience, I've realized that what happened in my past, especially in my childhood and when I was a teenager, has led me to build this persona of the unhealthy, wounded energy. Basically, I grew up in an environment where I could not rely on the sources of masculine energy around me, and I had to be strong and I had to defend myself. I had to protect myself. I had to become the man that I wished I had in my life to survive. And I can recall specific moments in my childhood where something flipped inside of me and I realized I have no choice but to be stronger. And during those times, something really broke within me and my feminine feminine was put in the background and was neglected, because I feared that if I tapped too much into my feminine, I would get hurt. That's when the unhealthy feminine took over, as well as the unhealthy masculine. I became someone who built a wall around her and who was trying to look too strong all the time, trying to be ultra independent, trying to push myself too hard. And as a result of that, I would not only burn out, but also feel really disconnected with a side of myself that I was ignoring, and that was the feminine side. So when it comes to you and the reason why you have an unhealthy feminine energy, it could be a similar story. Maybe you lacked healthy masculine energies in your environment while you were growing up. Or maybe there was a source of toxic femininity around you. Maybe a narcissistic mother or a father who was stuck in his unhealthy feminine because he was not able to provide for the family. He was too laid back. He didn't have any discipline, focus, direction, etc., etc. Maybe there was a circle of women around you, whether your sisters, aunties, who were toxic in their femininity, in the sense that they were judgmental, envious, jealous, etc., etc. And that as a result has led you to want to step away from the feminine energy and want to create something completely different. All in all, I've noticed that when a woman is in survival mode somehow, she will end up creating an unhealthy feminine and masculine dynamic within her. And the impact of that in your life might look like struggling to create healthy relationship with the opposite gender, so attracting men who are too much in their feminine and who don't take the lead and who are not able to provide for you, to protect you, to make you feel like you're taken care of, etc., etc. Or it might be you burning out quite often and pushing yourself too hard until you literally just break down. It might be you having a very low self-esteem because you just don't accept yourself for who you are and how you've been created. You might just have that feeling that you're not being authentic and that something is missing for you to feel good about who you are and how you're living your life. Now let's talk about practical ways to heal that wounded feminine energy. The first thing that you can do in order to cultivate a healthier feminine energy within is heal your mother wound, if you have one. If you have a conflicting relationship with your mother, knowing that your mom was the first role model or exposure to what it meant to being feminine in your life, it's really important that you identify if your negative beliefs about femininity come from there and that you try your best to do some work on that relationship. It doesn't necessarily mean reconnecting with an abusive parent. Your mother doesn't even have to be alive for you to do this work of detaching from her definition of femininity and embracing your own version of what it means for you to be feminine in a healthy way. Talking about your version of femininity, the second thing that you can do is have an honest conversation with yourself and ask yourself, what does it mean for me to be feminine right now? And how does that definition contrast with the healthy traits that we described at the beginning of this video? Are you holding a lot of limiting beliefs on femininity? If that's the case, I have a video about limiting beliefs that you can watch in order to do the work of letting go of them so that you can embrace that side of yourself. The third thing that you can do, and that is very important, is retrace the source of the creation of that wounded feminine and that wounded masculine. So maybe like in my situation, you've had to adopt certain survival mechanisms, and that has put you in a situation where your feminine side was completely neglected. If that's the case, it's good to go back in time through journaling or even through a therapy session or a coaching session and identify these moments, acknowledge them, and do the inner work, whether it's through reparenting yourself or creating a sense of safety around these moments in order to heal the past and not live your present through it anymore. The fourth thing that you can do to heal your feminine energy within is stop comparing yourself to other women. The expression of femininity will vary from woman to woman. Maybe with your neighbor it's gonna be all about motherhood, and maybe for someone else it's all gonna be about being of service to the community. When you look at other women and you think to yourself, I'm not good enough compared to her because she's an amazing mother and I'm not able to do as much as she does, you're really damaging your feminine energy within by trying to put it in a box that might not be adapted to your personality, your temperament, your character. So it's important to detach from from judgment towards yourself, but also towards others, and to remember that we are all different. The fifth thing that you can do in order to embrace your feminine energy is surround yourself with women who welcome the expression of the feminine, but also create a safe space for you to do so. And that goes back to the toxicity that we mentioned at the beginning of this video that you might have experienced when you were younger. If they are women who are very stuck in a toxic feminine, you want to create distance with them and try to create a new circle of friends who will help you on this journey of growing and accepting your feminine side. What does that look like? It looks like women who are not judgmental, women who will be able to listen to you with compassion and love, women who will be able to encourage you without being dishonest about your behavior or negative traits. The seventh thing that you can do to connect with your feminine side is learn about the blessings of being a woman, especially in Islam. One of my favorite teacher, Ustada Ifet Rafiq, is the person who has taught me the most about feminine energy because she loves talking about it as well. And she has an amazing course on the womb. What Ustada Ifet talks about basically is how much Allah has elevated us as women by giving us this gift of the womb and by making us a vessel for giving birth in this life, subhanallah. And I can't even explain how amazing her course is. I'll just put the details in the description box below for you to check it out. It is a course and it is a topic that every Muslim woman should know about. Knowing how your body works, connecting with your cycle, the seasons within you, that has tremendously helped me create a better relationship with my feminine side. So I encourage you to check that out, inshallah. Tip number 8 is all about tuning into your intuition a bit more. So instead of being too much in your head like the masculine would be and trying to be rational constantly, connect with your emotions a little bit. Listen to your body, listen to how you feel. Journal about how you feel. Ask yourself, why am I feeling that way and what can I do to feel better? Things like that. Try to be more connected to your emotions, because if a woman is trying to be too rational like a man would be, she's definitely going to be disconnected with her true nature. Tip number 9 is to give yourself a lot of love and self-compassion and really learn how to practice real self-care. I have a video on that topic. You can check it out here or wherever I put it, inshallah. One of the major traits of the healthy feminine is that she is a nurturer. And a lot of the time when we're stuck in the unhealthy feminine is because we nurture everything around us apart from us. So you want to get in a habit of learning how to take care of your needs as much as you take care of the needs of others, if not more. By giving yourself as much love and attention that you need in order to feel healthy and aligned. And the final tip number 10, is to get into meditation on this specific topic of feminine energy. There's loads of meditations out there on YouTube. You just have to search for feminine energy meditation and spend some time alone in silence with a guided meditation in order to tap into that new energy, that new side of yourself. You might learn so much, you might discover so much about yourself, things that you've been trying to hide, things that you thought you'd appear as weak if you let out. You'll realize that they were actually your strength. They were a blessing for you. Now I've given you 10 actionable things to do to be more feminine. So that's a lot. What you might want to do is just like pick 2 or 3 points that are more relevant to you and try to apply them from now on every week for a few weeks, and then come back to this video and implement more of those tips, inshallah, so that you get to a place where you're really aligned with your natural self. Bottom line, even if there's a lot of work to do here potentially for you, I want you to understand that because your feminine is present within you, it's not gonna be that hard to bring back that side of you and to create alignment again, inshallah. It might sound like it's a mountain of work to do, but I promise you it isn't. That side of you is waiting for you to water it, to cherish it, to nourish it, and it's just gonna jump out of nowhere because it's been expecting that from you for a long time. So don't think that this is too much work. You got this. okay? And if you try any of the tips that I've given in this video, let me know in the comment section how it goes for you. And if you've had any insights, share with us in the comments as well, inshallah. If you do this work, I promise you that you'll get amazing results in your daily life. Healthier relationships, the ability to attract a man who's in his healthy masculine rather than a wounded feminine or a wounded masculine. A better connection with Allah Azza wa Jal, because He's the one who's given you that natural ability to be a nurturer. That will potentially help you restore a healthy spirituality. You'll be so much more confident in your skin, and your self-esteem will get a huge boost. This is what happens when we practice self-acceptance and surrender to the traits that Allah has given us that are just innate within us. That's it for today, my love. I hope that this video was beneficial for you. Make sure that you subscribe, you like, and you share it with whoever you think will benefit from it, and I'll be back with another topic next week, inshallah. Take care of yourself. Ma salama.